Okay, well, hello, ladies.
Yay. Hello.
Hey.
Hello. So let me just start off by saying that I am Keisha. I am just one half of the host of the Regal Mindset Podcast show. And I've got my other lovely host, Joy. I'll let you introduce yourself real quick and then we'll move on.
Absolutely. I am Joy, the coach, Young. I am bringing you greetings all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, right now. I am your mystic, millionaire, and mindset
Come
transformer.
on, girl.
And
Yeah, let's
I
go.
am excited about our conversation tonight because you know I love to talk money.
Yes.
Absolutely. I appreciate that. So I'm going to go to the top right. I've got, is it Megan Baker?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hello, I am Megan Baker, and I am a financial services professional. I educate people on all things concerning your mindset towards money, how to better circulate your money, and alternative ways in which you can do that that a lot of us are not educated on.
I love
Awesome.
it.
Well, I don't
I
think
love
she
it.
did justice because she's also my mystic and millionaire partner. We partnership
Yes.
in the same ministry. So we have the
Yes.
same mindset when it comes down to our money. And
Yes.
and yeah. So yeah, I don't think she did
Okay.
that justice.
Well, I appreciate you having her back. Dr. April McDonough, go
Yes.
ahead and introduce yourself and let us know who you are, your credentials, and how we can find you.
Okay, great. Well, first of all, thank you, Joy, for having me on the show. It's always a
Absolutely.
pleasure. This is my passion is money. I own a wealth management firm for women here in Jacksonville
Yay.
called Woman to Woman Financial, where I help women business owners and executives create and grow generational wealth. My focus is creating wealth by educating, empowering, and encouraging with absolutely no judgment. I am the
Amen.
first Black woman here in North Florida to own her own registered investment advisory firm outright. I don't work for
Okay.
anybody. I'm independent. So there's no one like me here. So I'm excited to be here to, be a part of such a great, rich conversation so that we can help our folks create the wealth that they deserve.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Now, Dr. April Murdoch did not do herself justice either. Because, first of all, she is your CFO. No ifs, ands, or buts about that.
Yes.
And I need to get my actions together, but she is your CFO. Not only that, she has her own financial podcast. Just like Megan,
Oh,
she has her own Alien Nation, and she's doing her series. So, like, no, you do yourself some justice. But people need to know that both of y'all exist and what you
Yeah.
bring to our community as women, what you bring to our community as African Americans, and how you make us make sense.
Hey.
Amen.
absolutely. Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank
Good
you.
stuff. I appreciate you, Joy, for having her back as well. All right, so listen, tonight we're gonna talk all things money. All things money. So which of the two would like to go first and help us strategize or figure out how we gonna spend this currency and have it rotate and work for us?
Well, I can definitely go first since
Okay.
I have to leave a little earlier. But one thing that I get going into the financial services industry, and Dr. April, I'm sure maybe you've heard of some of the things that I educate people on how they can build wealth and prepare for retirement through alternative vehicles where it secures the money without losing it in a variable type of product for people who cannot afford to invest their money in the stock
Mhm.
market. And when the stock market goes down 10%, you lose that 10%. So I educate our communities on vehicles that they can utilize, like fixed indexed annuities and index universal life, which is another form of a whole life policy.
Mhm.
And the difference between a whole life policy and the index universal life is the fact that whole life, when you transition, the your cash value goes back to the insurance company. And
Mhm.
index universal life, it actually is a way for you to extend your legacy financially with the family, because you can actually, when you transition, your family gets both the cash value and the death benefit. And a lot of our community is not aware. Index
Mm,
Universal Life, I like to talk to my clients who have 401ks, and and why lose $4,000 in a 401k when you can utilize it in through insurance, and then you can create your own bank. So it's so many things that a lot of us don't know. And tax codes, we're in tax season, right? And you have a lot of people who are looking for ways to, you know how can I put this money away? Like, I have a young couple, they're business owners, they're young, they don't have any children. You don't have a whole lot of write-offs right now, because you're making more than you putting out. So how can I reduce my taxable income? You can do that through insurance.
mm,
How to Right now, people think you should be in your 60s or 70s or getting ready to go to the grave, to start with a living trust. I educate on the value of a living trust right now to create for the family. So these are things that our community doesn't know about. And also, life insurance. Everybody thinks life insurance is for when you die. It is not. There is a new type of life insurance that has riders called living benefits. And that means, because how many of our community say they've got diagnosed with breast cancer, they've got kidney failure, something like that. The health insurance company says, oh, we can only pay 20%, but your bill is $100,000. Well, where else are you going to get the balance? You can actually tap into your life insurance policy through living benefits, and they will give you a percentage of your death benefit. So it is not just for when you are transitioning and you're on your deathbed, but it is for while you're alive. But a lot of our community does not know about that.
mm-hmm.
So
That is good information. While you were talking, April, I'm sorry, Megan. Can you give me like two beneficial reasons as to why one would need a trust? Just something that stands out to me in case I were interested in going that route.
if you have a house, a
Okay.
car, jewelry, art, even children. So, what
Okay.
a lot of our community doesn't know is, if something happens to both guardians of the child, the child actually, if you just put in the will, oh, I want my child to be taken care of by their older sibling or by a family member. Well, a will is just a piece of paper. It's a honey-do list, is what I call a will.
Okay.
So the child actually still has to go into the system, and the
Oh.
family member has to go to court to prove that they are a viable guardian. A trust, but if you put that information in a trust concerning your child, concerning your house, concerning your car, then it is like a deed to your home. It's
Mhm.
ownership. So when you transition, whatever you put in that trust, it is in stone. So it
Okay.
cannot be, nobody can take you to court over it, anything like that. So that is the value of having a living trust right now.
Right. Right. And that, if I'm not mistaken, is a non-revocable trust that we're speaking of right there.
Mhm.
Well, I would say for people who are still, still young, still living, you can get, a non-revocable, and then you could get a revocable. Revocable means that you could continue to add to it. You could continue.
Okay.
Non-revocable, once you whatever you put in there, you can't add to it. So I always say, if you still have things you want to do, get a revocable trust so you can continue to add to it.
Understood. Now, one other thing, because I know there's some entrepreneurs that also watch us, Megan, and would it make sense for us to have a personal trust and a business trust separate?
You can do both. So there are ways where it can be, the business and the personal can be built into the same trust. They're able to do that.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. That makes good sense. That makes good sense. Okay.
Yeah, and one of the things that's good about a trust, if I may add, is
Yes.
estate tax purposes. So a lot of
Yes.
people do that to avoid the estate tax and the probate issues that you'll
Mm-hmm.
deal with. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times people will put things in trust, especially high net worth folks, to
Yeah.
avoid the estate tax problem that'll potentially be there. Another thing that they do is they use life insurance, like, an
Yes.
IUL or a permanent product, to
Yes.
offset the estate taxes. So if your estate, you put your real estate in the trust, you put all
Mhm.
of your
Mm-hmm.
assets in the trust, it could potentially still have an estate tax problem, just depending on how it's established. Well, to
Yes.
offset that, then you can have on the side a life insurance policy like she's speaking about, that you can then offset those taxes with that. So there are many different types of trust, but a
Mm-hmm.
revocable one is the best one to have while you are alive,
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
as you gather assets, you can put them in there. There are
Yeah.
some things that you should not put in a trust, because
Mm.
then they're going to value your trust, and that could also cause an estate tax problem. So one of the
Oh.
things that I tell people is have an attorney, an estate
Yes.
tax
Mm-hmm.
attorney, estate planning attorney, excuse me, work
Mm-hmm.
with you on putting the assets in the trust, because some things you shouldn't put in there because
Right.
it could
Right.
cause a tax issue for you. And then there are things
Ah.
that you should have in there that
Right.
to avoid the estate taxes. So people do it to avoid probate, because probate can be a
Years.
nightmare. My
Mm-hmm.
relatives had a house in probate for 14 years, going back and forth with the will,
Wow.
Wow.
because there was no will.
Mm.
So, and then when they died intestate, now it goes to the probate court. And when you
Mm-hmm.
have relatives that don't agree on what to do with the assets, it holds
Mhm.
it up. And so all I did for years was pay the attorney almost every year. It was like he was on retainer with us for like 4
Mhm.
Right.
years.
Wow.
So making sure that you have your estate plan established is extremely important, like she's speaking, and
Right.
having the right kind of trust is also going to be important to make sure
Right.
you.
Okay.
So real quick, because and I'm glad that both of you brought up those points, because my question, I want both of you to give your perspective, because I want to talk about some misconceptions,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm.
TikTok trains us,
Oh
Facebook
God.
trains us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one, I would like to say about the probate, I had to deal with that when my mom passed. Now, I'm a loophole in this. If there's a loophole, Joy is gonna jump through that loophole. So I was
She said a
able to
loophole in this.
get those documents for probate, and it was clean and clear, and we was done. So
Oh,
I'm not gonna,
good.
yeah. So I was able to get us clean, clear. We're good. It was out. But her estate wasn't large as well, and things like that.
Right.
But so you do want to make sure that you link up with somebody that's knowledgeable, so that you don't make those mistakes, because
Right.
unfortunately, if you might not do the necessary and due diligent research, and you'll find
Mm-hmm.
yourself
Right.
in a bigger trouble. But let's talk misconceptions, and I need both of your opinions on this, because TikTok would teach us, when you wake up in the morning, get you an LLC, go get you a IUL, and you do this. But then what they don't tell you is that, oh, you can fund and you could be your own bank. But then they don't tell you that you need to put the value of that IUL to that IUL in order for you to become your own bank. So you're
Correct.
thinking that you're paying $100 a month, and that all of a sudden now you got $300,000 worth of value, and that's absolutely not true. So let's
It's
deal
not.
with misconceptions. Let's be able to give people realistic perspective and saying, okay, because we are not, honestly, we're talking over a lot of people's head. Now it's
Right.
going to
Yeah.
be people that understand where we at, but we're preparing them to be able to understand, because we don't do GoFundMe's. I'm not going to go
Mm-mm.
fund you to life and to death. I absolutely
Listen.
not going to do that. So this is why we're bringing this to you all's attention. But let's talk misconceptions. So Dr. April, let's start. What are some misconceptions that you've seen that you want to debunk? And then MJ, I want you to do the same thing. What are some misconceptions that in your industry, just from your conversations, that you've heard that you want to debunk?
I
Yeah.
do
Ask
want,
Great.
yeah,
questions.
it's funny you bring that particular topic up. The whole IUL, I'm going to do infinity banking. Now, Don't get me wrong. It is definitely possible. I have
Mhm.
clients that I have had established life insurance policies that fund them to a limit where I have one client, by the time he retires in 10 years, he'll have 4 million of tax-free money
Right.
in the policy. But do know he didn't do that with $100 a month. My client is paying $72,000 a year to do that.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about infinity banking, unfortunately, and I hate to say it, $50 a month life insurance policy ain't going to get you a tax-free
No, it's not.
retirement strategy. It is a strategy that takes a lot more than 50, 100. Case in point, I have a client that she was funding her IUL about $500 a month, which is a decent amount to start. And she did well. I think 2-3 years, she had about almost 16 grand in there tax-free that she can use. She lost her job. She had borrowed some money. She needed to pay it back. We were able to go into the life insurance policy, and now she is borrowing from herself. So do know you are the bank of you. So it is a loan that is accruing interest on the side in the policy. Now you don't have to pay it back. You can continue to make your premium payments. That loan will accrue. When you pass away, if it is not paid off, then it will just be subtracted from the face value of the death benefit. So it does allow you to be the bank of you without having to go through the credit check, to be borrowing. Even like, I think it's so ridiculous where you own a fixed asset, let's say your home, and you want to take the equity out of your home. Like I bought my house, they say buy the smallest house in the best neighborhood. That's what I did. I bought, my house is not very huge. I live in a really, really, really good area. I bought my house 8 years ago. My neighbor's house sold for $415. I bought mine for $185. They bought theirs for $185. My neighbor's house just sold 3 houses down for $415. Right.
Wow.
But if I want to access the difference between what I owe, because I owe way less than $185 now on my house. And if I want to take that money out of my house, I have to go through credit hoops. They're going to pull my credit for my money. Right. This is my money. So when you're using life insurance to kind of be the gap, you can do that, where you can be the bank of you. But just like you were at the bank, the loan is going to accrue interest. And don't think that you're going to get rich off of giving me $100 or $200 a month. And now you mad because 2 years later, you like, well, I only got $3,000 in this thing. Well, first of all, it is like, it's like a Roth IRA. In a sense, I call it like another Roth IRA strategy because it has a zero floor. So like she was saying, if the market goes ridiculous, right, you won't lose anything, but you won't gain anything anyway.
Right.
So there's no loss to you. So it is a win-win strategy. It's like, well, I ain't losing nothing. I'm not making nothing, but people don't want to lose. They want to gain. So worst case scenario, your year is zero. Best case scenario, it's higher than zero. So it's a perfect strategy for people who don't want to be in the market or should diversify, because I do think diversification is important. And you should have some assets in the market, and you should have some assets that are safe. So using fixed index annuities and using index universal life is great. But we have in our community this misnomer that these things are going to make us rich. The discipline to contribute to those things and really look at your finances in its totality and say, I am going to make the investment in me. And $50 is not an investment in you. $50 is, I'm not going to drink Starbucks that week. And it's you start where you are. But please don't get mad when you watching TikTok and it's not doing what it says it's going to do.
TikTok University.
You gotta be careful of who you taking your advice from. In Jacksonville, the girl got social media famous off of credit repair strategies. Everybody wanted done quick, fix and fast in a hurry. So they paid her a bunch of money to get their credit repaired. She was, I'm telling you, famous on the news, on River City Live every week, talking credit repair strategies, taking $50,000 from people, $10,000 from people.
Wow.
Now she is, they about to put her in jail, right? Because she was on social media purporting, taking some things, some truths, mixing it, and it's not completely true. And we as people want things done quick, fast, in a hurry.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Wealth is gained slowly, methodically, with discipline. Wealth is not done overnight. And so those strategies that she's sharing with you that she does are very real strategies, but you need to go to someone like her or someone like myself that understands your whole financial picture, because you probably can't even afford an IUL. Like, let's face it, you just might need life insurance. We might just need to make
get your little turn.
Listen, and then Dr. April, this is something, you know, when what I always tell people is, because IULs get a bad rap, but I say IUL is not the product, right? You know, it's just like when we talk about, is alcohol bad? No, it is the person, right, that abuses the item, right? So if you have an agent that just wants to make money off of you, that's what makes it bad. It is, you have to have someone that cares about you. And just to your point, Dr. April, so many people I have said, you're not ready. You're not ready. Let's just get you some life insurance with living benefits. And let's talk about getting you to a place where you can do that. But then I do have some people that say, that are younger, like, so younger people, like my nephews and my nieces, who say, okay, IT, I got $100. I say, okay, we can start with $100. But in 5 years, that $100 needs to be 500. Like, you know, I give them big picture, and I always tell, you know, like you said, to your point, wealth is it's a methodical, it's strategic, and we have to, everybody wants to get rich quick. And, you know, and that's a lesson I've had to learn too by being in this industry. So I'm very thankful for it, because it's taught me how to really, and this is all my clients, I give them books. I say, here's a list of books. I want you to read them. I send them videos, I send them articles, and I say, look over these things, because you need to be educated in understanding why, your why in this, and because that is very important. So,
and then people don't really have a real clue on their whole net worth. Like, so what are you worth? You know, everyone wants to do these things and make these commitments, but have you looked at the totality of your finances? You want to put your money in those strategies, which are great strategies, but do you have an emergency fund? Do we have the basics now? If life was to happen to you, could you respond to it without having to call me to rate your IUL that we've built? Those are things that, you know, a good financial advisor, financial professional is going to take your whole financial picture into account and say, this is a goal, may not be something right now. We're going to baby step this thing in here. We're going to make sure we have the basic foundational strategies in place, which, I hate to say it, a lot of us do not have in place. And then once we get there, if you're working with someone consistently and listening, because we don't want to listen, we listen to TikTok. Those people in TikTok don't got nothing in, no skin in the game for you. You know, they want you to click the link and schedule time with them, which is nothing wrong with that. But I would be very, very careful if I have somebody on there that's not credentialed, not properly licensed, and only wants to focus on one product for you. That is not the solution to your whole picture. That is part of a solution.
Part of it.
And when someone wants to use one thing as the end all be all, that also should be concerning to you. So those are the things that I would say to the folks, you know, and then the other thing is interview people. Like, We people, I want to do business with us. Like let's don't let's I do not want the black dollar to leave the black community as
Because
quickly.
it's too much.
Right.
We got too many
It's only
dollars.
stays here
Yeah.
6 hours in our community,
Mm-hmm.
6 hours. And
Yeah.
in other communities, in the Asian community, it's 28 days. So
Wow.
I want the money to stay here, right? I
Mm.
do. But at the end of the day, I need to be able to do business with someone that cares about me, that is credentialed, that is credible,
Mhm.
and that takes my whole financial picture into account. If a
Right.
person is coming to you and saying, this is the solution to your problems, you just buy this IUL and you're gonna be a millionaire, and then
Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
that is not the
But
end all be all. And
Listen,
we fall
it
for
is
the
not.
okey doke because we have not been educated. No
Yeah.
mm,
one has taught us generational wealth concepts.
Right.
We are the first generation millionaires in this millennium right here, as far
Hmm.
as the African American community. So we don't have a frame of reference. I mean,
Yeah.
Madam C.J. Walker, she's dead. What? She's the first female millionaire, but what
but
lessons did we get there?
but I'm glad that you brought that up. And I know my friends who
Mhm.
got a burning question, but you brought up a good point because two things. One, if you don't come from wealth money, then money should come from you. So then you
Yes,
need to set your family up. Second thing is we do, and I love Black History Month. Don't get me wrong, but I'm black all my life and
every
every
day.
life after this.
Last I
With that
checked, I
being
didn't wipe
said,
this off,
I
right?
have to
Yeah.
include myself into that history, and I
Yeah.
have to create that history. And what we do is we
Wow.
focus
Yeah.
on everybody else's,
Yep.
achievements, but we're forgetting to make those achievements ourselves.
For
We don't
ourselves.
put
Yep.
our dollars in our community. We don't have our own school, but the Jewish community have their own school. Chinese people take advantage of their own services. They only buy their products. We buy everybody else's products. We are the most consuming, economical, I can't think of the word, vehicle out there, but we watching everybody else benefit from how we put in. We make things trend. We make things go be cultural. We make all of these efforts, but we don't turn it around and put it back where it needs to go. Because
Well, one of the
African American, go
problems,
ahead.
see, I hear
Hmm.
you, and one of the problems, and I don't mean to get sociological and
No, go
philosophical.
there.
I apologize, and Megan, I don't want to. I'm talking over. I don't want to talk over you at all.
No, no, you're
Um,
good. You're good because it's a part of, I mean, because it's a part of it. I mean,
Right.
it's a
yeah.
part of it.
Well, one of the problems I think we have, not as a community, is we all know the hyper consumerism, so we're good there. But the
Yes.
issue is that, tell me, how many black businesses can we go to? I had to really take an inventory of that. I was like, okay, I can't keep the black dollar in the black community. Well, tell me, where can I go and get my nails done at a black salon? Where can I go and get my eyebrows done at a black salon? Like, where can I go get facials? What the things that we spend our money on, where is it? We don't have the businesses at all. I live in a
Mm,
community that is not at all diverse. And one of the issues I found, like, I want to do all things black. So very
Mhm.
recently, I found a black nail salon, feet, for my nails and my pedicure. I will not give my money outside of that anymore. I will
mm-hmm.
be nubs before I will do that
You
again.
have to be intentional. You're
I
being
will
very
be, yes.
You
intentional.
have to be intentional.
I
Yeah.
found a black groomer for my dog, but how many black groomers are there out here? How
Now,
many black
Yeah.
people are grooming? I mean,
I
we
w-
don't have the
right.
businesses to be able to say we can spend our money. So we are forced, in a sense, to give our money to other communities because we don't have the people in our community doing it.
Now I do want to give a free plug to somebody who actually started this. Nare, this is a really, really wonderful friends of mine, Nisha and Tracy Hall. They started the Virginia Black Business Directory,
Ah.
VBBD,
We're
and they
starting it
have
here. I'm starting
grown.
it here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they've grown this community. They have not, I would say webinar, but they have gatherings, everything. So if you are looking now, granted it's Virginia, but it can help open it up because we need
Yep.
our own green book. We need to bring
Yeah.
it back
We
to
do.
where reputable companies
That's
that
right.
we can say their business is good, because I'm not coming to you and your business is trash. Because the
Right.
same way I'm
That
gonna
part.
blast them, I'm gonna blast you, and you can't
Right.
get
That
mad at that. Come on,
yeah.
what's
Right.
the
I'm
lady that
with
was in
you. I'm
Texas
with you.
that with the Keith Lee thing? Your business was trash, and that's what happened.
No,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. And that's why, having a resource like that will give Megan, myself, an opportunity to be in there as credentialed, properly
Right.
Right,
educated professionals that are qualified to provide this level of advice. I mean, your money is that's the most sensitive, vulnerable thing you got. That's how, I mean, I tell women all the time, we don't change GYNs, right? So why are
hmm
Right.
you going to change financial people? So once you get one,
right.
you need to ride with it. But we've got to
Yeah.
be credible enough to do that. And that is the struggle, because we've got the TikTok millionaires telling us
And
how
then they
to
going
how
to
to make
jail because
millions.
they
And
got
they
caught at the
probably broke.
airport.
You don't
Right.
know.
Exactly.
Well, and I think too, it's like we have to like you were talking about the sociological, it's mental, it's a we also have to get out of like Joy, you were talking about, we consume, right? And
hmm
that's trauma based, right? That is a,
Mhm.
I got to prove that I am good enough, so I am going to consume. Like
hmm
it is, we're trying to feed the need to be accepted.
Right.
Mhm. Mhm.
And but we set the bar. But see, I don't think has hit us internally that we as a people set the bar,
Yeah.
Right.
that we actually, like, so I started substitute teaching, and they do the Black history, talking about who did what. And I forget the woman's name, but I've heard her name before, but they were saying this woman, she created caller ID. And
I know
she
you're
did,
talking about, but I don't know her name.
she
Yeah.
created caller ID and all of these things. And it had me thinking, I said, wait a minute, we are it. We are the bar.
We are it.
We are it. And it hasn't hit us. And so when it comes to money, our relationship, and I'm saying this because I had to realize that within myself, because even
hmm
being in
Right.
this industry, I don't know, Dr. April, if it this industry has been therapy for me concerning my relationship with money, right?
Mm.
hmm
And seeing the generational habits that need to correct. I'm still correcting them, still looking at myself and saying, how am I properly doing it? And I feel like it makes me a better
Of course.
partner,
hmm
because
Mm.
for my clientele and things of that nature. And Joy, like your question about the LLCs and people wanting to get the LLCs, but you don't have a vision for the business. And
hmm
whenever I have a client that says, okay, I want to start a business and do this and do that, and I say, okay, I'm going to refer you to a CPA that I know that consults people on their businesses.
hmm
And she's going to help you with your taxes. And then people go, oh, okay, so I
Mhm.
got to do those are all the steps.
hmm
Yes, those are all the steps that you have to take. And I think those are the things that we have to kind of understand. That I was listening to a podcast, and I apologize if I'm jumping, but I was listening to a podcast called The Millionaire
hmm
Verse. And the gentleman was saying he realized the only separation between him and the white millionaire was education.
That's
Mhm.
it.
And he said the white millionaire told him, he said he was in jail. The guy was in jail for embezzling. He was in jail for murder. And he said the white millionaire, see, y'all playing this game all wrong. Y'all think y'all got to work hard and do all this. Da, da, da. And the millionaire said, no, you just need to educate yourself on how the game works, how money works. You don't know money, and you need to know money. And
Mm.
I feel like that is a part of what our community just needs, is to understand the relationship that we have with money and how we can make money work for us. We're working for the money. Joy, we
Yeah.
get taught this all the time. And
All the time.
we tell money what to do. Money
That's
doesn't
right.
tell us what to
We
do.
give it an assignment.
It's an inanimate object, so it has
Yeah,
no power at all. We are the ones that wield the power. You're
Exactly.
right. hmm
yeah,
You're right.
And
definitely.
That
but
is so
I
true.
do.
But we do is trauma based, and
Hmm.
it's so true. We're been ingrained to do things a certain way. It's just like, you grow up and your parents said, "This is the way we vote. We vote this party." No one
Democratic. You
questions. No one
grandfathered
asks any
into a
questions.
Democratic Party.
We don't even think about, okay, should we? Is this really a good thing? Not
Hmm.
saying that I have an issue with that, but educating yourself and questioning and asking those questions is extremely important. But we
Absolutely.
do behave from a trauma perspective. We don't have a frame of reference, not an excuse, but we don't. And now, because of education, like you said, we don't have to live like that anymore.
We don't.
Yeah. To both of you guys' point, I know that that's a large part of why this podcast exists, in the
Hmm.
sense that we are trying to shape and change people's mindset by building this community and teaching them, directing them to a better path, to a more abundant life, right? To educate them so that they
Hmm.
have the tools in order to make the necessary changes in their life that will affect them generationally.
hmm hmm
Exactly.
and that's
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
that's important. So, and that's why all of us need to keep doing it. Like,
Yeah.
all of us, everybody has to get on the bandwagon. If we're going to leave people behind us, then we need to be on the bandwagon of generational wealth. Everything we think of and everything we do needs to be about, okay, yes, I need to dig myself out of this hole, but once I'm out of
Right.
this hole, I need to figure out how the things that I do can impact the people coming behind me. And if
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
just this, if it's just having these
Mm.
conversations, if it's just educating, if it's just doing a Facebook Live, the many things that are out there that we can do to move the needle, we have to continue to do it. Somebody
Yeah,
And
will hear
absolutely.
it.
somebody's going to hear it because
hmm
it's enough people with ears and there's enough people with mouths that have done their due diligence, done the research to be able to give you this good information. But then that also got to get to the point of people have to be ready to make a change because
Yeah,
like black people, and we know how we are, we can't always wear our Sunday's best on a Tuesday. You got to
yeah,
be able to put your money the way it needs to go. And just like, we was in our community, our spiritual community, we I put in a group of a new stock that I bought. Okay, well, I went in and bought a couple of shares of LVMH. And because at the end of the day, if I go out and I'm gonna drink Hennessy, if I'm going to drink a bottle of Moet, if I'm going to go buy a Louis, I got enough stock to justify why I
right,
have the product.
hmm hmm
And so you can't tell me that you have this wall-to-wall collection of every dunk that have came out, every Jordan that's came out, but you don't have a Jordan stock when you could have took one share is one pair of
right,
shoes that you stood in line for. To
Yeah.
me,
right.
Mhm.
I'm going to look at you in a very idiotic way and with a very undertone of you stupid
Well, the
because
thing
you're
is
not
like when you
directing it the
know
way to
better.
go.
See, now that's why this exists, because now you know better, right? You do better.
Right.
Hmm.
So now
Yeah.
one of the things I tell people all the time at first is, people want to invest and buy stocks. Look at what you buy.
What you
And
Mhm.
if
consume.
if you're using
Mm.
Procter and Gamble, we'll buy Procter and Gamble. If
Yep.
you're using Chat GPT, then buy Nvidia. Like, these are things you need to look at. Is it a stock? Is it something I can make money on? Then I'm
Mhm.
going to invest. Tyson Foods. If you eating chicken, you might want to be, Tyson Foods. So that is a good way to start. What you're doing is really being cognizant of where you spend your dollars,
Right.
because
Yeah.
one of the goals is you always want to make your money. I say make babies for you. Always. You
Yeah.
want to
Right.
make
But
babies.
it's another financial investment vehicle that a lot of people don't consider. You can actually, and I have to remember what a website. So if I bring it up, I'll put it in this group when we post a video. But you can invest in people's music catalog. Kendrick
Yep.
Lamar has a catalog out there. I think I can't think of the other guy, but he does really good music. I don't listen to him all the time, but he's really good music. You can invest in their catalogs. You
Wow.
can
hmm
invest in a art catalog. So these
hmm
are things that you can do that you're saying, okay, you listen to music all day. You can invest in Jay-Z's catalog. And they
Mhm.
have these groups, just like they have the stock. a group of stocks. You can get into REI. What is it? A REIT. You can get into a
Yep.
REIT, which is a whole
Mm-hmm.
property group. But they also have groups for horses. They got groups for everything that makes money that we don't pay attention to because
Mm-hmm.
we don't look at the money that horses bring in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
we
mean,
have to look out there.
education is key. I mean,
Mhm.
education, things like this, reading books. I'm an avid book reader. I have books I think I'm reading 2 books right now, and then listening to a book. So, you've got to feed your mind. We've got to be educated. One of the things I tell people is I look at people who are where I want to be, not
Yeah.
just superficially,
Yeah.
not just
Mhm.
externally, but I have clients that I'm like, oh my God, I'm managing your assets. This is crazy. How did you get there? Like,
Right.
I'm taking you to dinner. I want to pick your brain. Like, I had a young lady that had like 1 million sitting in the bank, in a regular bank, cash she
Doing
saved, just a
nothing.
million bucks. Yes. I'm like, well, tell me, how did you do that? Single parent now, no husband, none of that. So, I want to know, how did you get there? Not how did you get your bag, not how did what's your latest makeup trend. I want to know, how did you amass the bag, the real bag, the money
Right.
bag
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
if something happened to me, I can be able to live on and take care of my family while I recover. So
Right.
it's very
Absolutely.
important that we look at people and look for people that are where we want to be. You have to
Right.
So
go, Megan. I'm
I have
sorry.
to
I'll let
go.
you
No,
go
no,
ahead
no,
and
no.
So
end your thing. Go ahead. What you got to
Thank
say?
so
hmm I
go ahead.
just
Go
wanted
ahead.
to say this has been a very empowering conversation. I love this conversation, but I'm also a music artist. So I have a show and I appreciate you all so much. And everybody who is watching
Mhm.
this, please, please, please pick up a book. Okay? Pick up a
Mhm.
book, read it, go to YouTube. YouTube, if you don't like to read, go to YouTube. YouTube got free um audiobooks.
Audio.
They do.
Yeah.
People do that
Secrets of
and
the
I do it
Millionaire
all the time.
Mind. Yep, they
Well,
have
Yes.
it.
before
Mhm.
you go, MJ, drop your handle so people know where they can find you at.
Okay, so Instagram, I am Money Meg. TikTok, I just started the TikTok at I am Money Meg. And you can also email me if you want to talk further about anything that you heard and you're interested. Oluchi Dalmar, OLUCHI
What? You, you,
DALMARLLC at gmail.com. It is a reason for the name, okay? The
no,
Lord
good
gave it
sis.
to
I
me.
love I love the name, good sis, but you couldn't have spelled that out. You had to type that in there. So
She
Okay,
did.
I
It's
typed
in
everybody
it.
can
there.
get ready.
It's
It's
in
in
the
Okay.
the
chat.
chat.
It's in the chat. It's in
Gotcha.
the chat.
Because I'm like, you lost me on the third letter,
You was
but I
like,
love
every
it.
time I say that, people are like, what?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you lost me on the
All
third
right.
letter.
But love you
Enjoy your
guys.
show.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank
meeting
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, wonderful. Well, so Dr. April, I would ask for you to share some other tips that our viewers would benefit from.
Mhm.
Again, this is tax season, like Joy said, and once we get our money back, what's the first things we should be doing with it?
Not spending it.
Okay.
No, for real. I think, one of the things that I say, and I have to do it myself, is like, if it's over X amount of dollars, pause a minute, evaluate
Okay.
it. Ask yourself a question. Is it a need? Is it a want? Do I
Right.
need this? Now, a
Right.
lot of times we find, and I am this way too, an emotional spender. It's like,
Mm,
I got it. And now it's all of a sudden I need
Hmm.
all this stuff, right? When before I was making it fine, like I was squeezing the bottom of the toothpaste tube and I was making it do what it do. But now all
yeah.
of a sudden I got this big lump sum payday and now all these things that I need. So one of the things I have too is the way that I try to manage my money is the 10-10-80 rule. So I'm
Mm,
always going to pay myself a minimum of 10%,
Yeah.
minimum. So I'm going to take 10% and put it away in something that I cannot touch. I have online banks. You can do Ally Bank, you can do Capital One, and you can open up an account. You can transfer 10% of that away. It has no debit card. Whenever you need it, it takes you 24 to 48 hours to get it out. So it always takes that amount of time for you to really evaluate, is this truly a need? A lot of times it is a want that now has become a need that really is not a need, but a want. And when you have a few days to truly think about it and evaluate it, you might realize that it's not as much as of a need as you thought it was. So I always try to say, let's put something away. That's the first thing. That is the pay yourself rule. Now, I do give, and that's a big part of me. So I do try to do the other 10 of giving, or I may split that up. And let's say I'm going to give 5%, and then I may be saving for something like a vacation or like a new car, whatever it is. And I'll put that other 5% away. Another thing that I also...
Can I interject something? Because you made a great point. Because this is something that's taught in our spiritual community. It's called a wellness plan. So everything you just literally broke down is what we follow. But I wanted to bring out the point when you said about giving and the generosity of it. Because the Jewish community, this is something that they make as a regular vow. And you see the success that they have in their community because they give. They're generous with their giving. It's a spiritual law. It's energetic, and you can, and that is how you cause things to move on your behalf by the way you give. And I'm not going to make it a spiritual show, but like the Bible says, for God so loved the world, he gave. And when you follow that principle, you will understand what comes behind giving. So I'm sorry, pick up where you left off.
No. And that's exactly the way I live my life, right? So I have personally seen where I have given from, oh God, really? I shouldn't be giving this. Like, I need this. And it opens up. Somehow, some way it works out. I promise you that. I just had this happen the other day where it was like, the beginning of the year, things a little crazy. It's not moving the way I want it to move. But whatever comes in my house, in my hands, I'm giving 10% of it away. Now, I do go to a church, and so I sow it there because I see that some of the fruit. There's a school there that I'm passionate about. I sit on the board for the school board at my church. That's important to me, education. So I make sure I put my money there. The people who cannot eat, I used to be homeless. There was a time I ate from the church food bank for almost a year. So not only do I volunteer, but I try to make sure that when I'm giving my money, I give a portion of my money to that. And I will tell you, running a business by myself, being a single parent with 3 children on my own, I have never lacked for anything. My children have always been able to get everything that they needed. Not saying it's been easy. It's been a faith walk, right? But I believe that giving, you will return. You cannot sow a seed and it not sprout back up. You cannot. That's just the law of, we want to look at it, not even from a spiritual perspective. That's just the law of the world. That's the universe. You put seed in the ground, water it, it's going to come up. So that's another way. And then 80% of what I get is for spending. So what you do when you pull that 20% out, it forces you to live beneath your means. And when you guys get that tax money, you're going to spend it. You're going to spend something. You buy yourself something. I'm not telling you to deprive yourself. I'm just telling you to have a process for how money is to leave your hands. Because if you have a process and a system that you follow, it's like a muscle. You will build it. And then you will realize that I'm only living on 80% of the money that comes in my hands. That is the point. The other thing is, if you have debt and you're getting that money in, do everything you can to get out. You know, so of that 80%, allocate some of that money to paying back the things that you owe. Not trying to get somebody to fix your credit, not paying for a credit repair service, but really working on negotiating maybe some of those debts and figuring out how you can pay them off and come up with a system and a plan to do that. But those are the things that I would say. And you know, I know people say, well, you know, I should invest, and you should, but you should invest when you can consistently do it.
Consistently.
You need to I don't care where you start with investing. You know, I tell people when you're 16, your kids should have a Roth IRA. If they're 16 and they got a job at McDonald's, a Roth IRA, go to fidelity.com, open one up, make them put $50 a month in a Roth IRA. My kids could not live in my house unless they did that at 16. You ain't got no bills.
No, you're absolutely right.
You got a job at McDonald's. You can throw $50 away in it. And my son ran into a problem last year with his car. And he had his money saved because in my house, you have a rule. If you have a car, you got to have $500 put aside just in case the car start acting crazy. You can respond to it. But his repairs were way over what he had and saved. And I said, well, you know, you have your stocks, you have your account. If you need to tap it, you know, I can liquidate some, you know, of your stocks for you, because he started saving $50 a month at 16. So that's just a very small concept. You ain't got to teach everybody investing, but when you get that tax money, if you feel like you can start small, $50, Fidelity. You can open up an account in 5 minutes. You don't need an advisor. You don't need me. Don't pay me to do anything. That's stupid. Don't do that. That's ridiculous. Go to Fidelity, open up an account, start consistently saving, but do everything you can when you get that money to come up with a process of how it's going to be spent. 80 and the 10-10-80 rule is what I advocate for all money that comes into my hands. And I try to do that with my clients too.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff.
I appreciate that. Yeah, this is good. I so love what you guys do, you know, because financial education, man, I could talk about this till tomorrow. We could be on here tomorrow. I love teaching about this because this is an area that I have been so weak in all of my life.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much education you have. I mean, I have advanced degrees, but this is an area that has eluded me. And so I make it my business to help us understand it so that people don't have to make the same mistakes that I have made.
And you know, not just with that, the beauty of it. And one thing that I know me and Keisha definitely have in common, we want you to win.
Yeah.
We want you to succeed.
Yes.
So we're doing this. We're reaching out to our resources, giving you resources, making sure that you have what you need to be successful. Because as I stated in one of my books, because I did come out with 3 books. Anyway, I'm doing my own little plug.
Go ahead.
Plug away, girl.
Everybody's success is different. So I can't hate on your success because your success is not mine.
Right.
And when you realize that I am here for you, because it took you through to get to where you need to be, I'm going to applaud you and support you entire way. Because when it's where I'm going and where I need to be, it's enough of us to occupy this space.
Oh yeah.
When we go to the grocery store, how many different types of companies make bread? It doesn't change the fact that it's bread.
Right.
So then you can't get mad when you're in a space and there's 100 other people in that same space. Who you were supposed to touch, who you were supposed to attract, who you supposed to work with.
That's right.
Is not going to change the other slices of bread.
No, it's not. I believe God can get everybody to you that you're supposed to serve. He knows how to do that very well. He can, or if he could put the moon and the sun and the stars in the sky, he can orchestrate people that he has for you to serve and help and educate. So I'm very clear on that. And then one thing I want to go back to, I just thought about was the whole LLC movement. And you know, that seems to be a big thing where everybody wants to open up an LLC. But to have an LLC, you have to run income through there to really see the tax benefits and the protection aspect of the LLC. It has to be a legitimate business that you're running through there. You can't just have an LLC and say, I'm going to have these tax write-offs. I interviewed a CPA the other day. She's coming on. The podcast will drop on Monday. And she talked about that, like how people just set these things up. But if it's not strategically done, if you don't have income in a business running through there, you can't do the write-offs that there. So
Right.
whatever they're telling you on TikTok is a mess. Not only that, there are certain types of LLCs that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sole members, there's LLC S corps, there's LLC partnerships. There are different types. So you need to make sure that you have a tax professional like a CPA or someone advising you if you're going to start doing, writing those things off. I do believe we should all have a business. I do believe that, if you're going to do something, yes, make it a business, but make it a business, not a front. Like let
A
everything
legitimate.
be legitimate and properly run through the LLC as far as the money
structured. Yeah.
Make sure you have a business bank account. You can't have an LLC and you running stuff through your name, your regular name. Like I can't tell you the number of people mixing the business and the personal in the same account.
Right.
So we can't do that. We cannot expect to get wealth and grow wealth
You're not
doing it
thinking wealthy.
the side, sideways. That's I'm sorry. We get mad at the white people and the other folks for doing things and they're successful, but they follow a protocol.
They
Yeah.
do.
And if you
And they
don't,
win.
yeah, and if you don't, then you're going to jail, you're going to pay taxes. You're going
Come on,
So
PPP.
yeah. So you got to follow the rules, and the
Yeah.
rules are you got to have a legitimate business. And
Yeah.
it has to be licensed. It has to be the money has to flow through the business bank account. You got to keep up with the books. You got to have an accounting software. So it's just not an LLC. There's a lot to it.
And I want to go back to
Absolutely.
something you said about the banks because I'm pro black all day. So One United Bank, we're waiting for y'all to return our email so that you can be on the show. But One United Bank is the nation's largest black bank. They have some beautiful products. I am a member there, and it has been a
Yeah. Me
beautiful
too.
experience. Yeah, we're both members there. If you want to use our names, it sends us $50. By all means, you got to keep it gray and
Go
enjoy
ahead.
young. But they're beautiful and they're in our community because we want to make sure that we are partnering with our money with people that partner with us. Because everybody was trying to kill Navy Federal, but until y'all realized they wasn't giving black people mortgages, then
Yes,
everybody
yes.
want to quickly go over to Bank of America, but then you realize they're not a personal bank. They're a business bank. They don't have a lot of personal products, and you can't get mortgages unless you're $500,000 or more. And a lot of your homes are not 500,000. So then now you got to find other alternatives. So you have to do your due diligence, not who first approve you. Go find a bank that supports you.
Yeah.
Because my dollars are black too. They might be colored green, but they're my dollars. So, with that being said, I need them to go where black people are recognized and appreciated. If not, I'm taking my dollars elsewhere. And just because it may not be a huge impact, it's still an impact. Because, like you said earlier, you have to be intentional with your money. If
You
I
do.
see a product and it's like we have bought black products that we thought was black for years. How many hair products have we done bought that we thought was black? When you
Man,
find out
listen.
Africa's best is not even black owned.
Yep. Yep.
But how many relaxers we done had that done caused us to have issues in our female organs, and they were not black owned companies. And we've been
Well,
doing it for
BET
years.
is not black.
Exactly.
BET is owned by Viacom, a white company.
A white company.
So we do have to be extremely careful, and that's where knowledge and conversations like this are important. Because we educate each other and we learn from each other. We learn by reading. We learn from experience. So that's why these dialogues are extremely important.
Absolutely.
I 100% agree. I'm going to say this while we're still live, Jay. I feel like, and you tell me what your thoughts are. I feel like that we owe it to the community that we're building, and to our viewers and audience that at least once a quarter we have someone come on and discuss strategies around financing, and how we should handle so that we change that relationship that we have with money. I feel like we could do once a quarter.
I love that. And I will also include if that person, such as Dr. April or even Megan, to come on and actually do a teaching. Walk
Yeah.
us through what it looks like to invest.
Yes.
because they need to see it. It's one
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
thing of telling them, because it's easier for us to say, those who have a better relationship with money, it's easier for us to say, take your tax return and go do XYZ with it. But when a person
Yeah.
have a bad relationship with money, all they see is that quick dollar. Going
Yep.
back to Sweetly Seasoned, you had a bad relationship with money and you allowed it to destroy your business. But when you have a good relationship with money, it is easier for you to put the money away in a high yield savings account and let it grow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it circulate. Go do the necessary things with it, because when you have a bad relationship with it, the first thing you're gonna do is buy, buy, buy. I need to go get this. My baby need
Yeah.
this. No, them shoes was good. They were good. Because if you're doing what you're
Yeah.
supposed to do throughout the time, you don't have to wait till that one time of the year where you get one lump sum. And
Yeah.
I'm
And
a
you
little
buying
mad
up
because I don't get it
everything.
anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a book that I teach my clients through too called Profit First. I don't know if you've ever heard of
Mhm.
that method. But a white guy wrote it, and there's a black woman CPA who wrote her version on it. And it talks about really, I know this sounds anti everything you're saying, but really having a scarcity mindset when it comes to your money. It's always like, nope, I don't have it. Nope. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Because not that you don't have it to live, but you don't have it to squander because you have these priorities. My
Right.
Mm-hmm.
priority is this is the objective. I need to build an emergency fund. This is the objective. I need to be saving $500 a month for my future or my kids' college. So really looking at dialing things down and being very scarce with your money
Mm-hmm.
and your mindset. There's a book, I have both of them, Millionaire Next Door and The Millionaire Woman Next Door. And they talk about secret millionaires who live
Hmm.
in homes that you would never even imagine. And they died and they have millions, deca millions of net
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
worth because they lived a life that was not flashy. They still did
Mm-hmm.
great things. They traveled, they enjoyed. They were working W-2 millionaires that
Hmm.
Wow.
died, deca millionaires having more than $9 million because they just, no, this is not it. This is my priority. So
Yeah.
really shifting your mindset to not being so consumer focused, but being generational focused,
Yes.
legacy minded, living a life that is free from debt. That's another problem that we have, is owing so much that we
Hmm.
can't get out of the rat race and then
Yeah.
we give up. So really thinking about how to be scarce with it. Like now
Hmm.
my word is nah, I don't think I can do that. Let me get back to you. I
Right.
notice when I have big money that comes in, I want to do all the stuff for my business. I'm gonna
Yeah.
advertise. I'm gonna join this thing. I'm da, 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 da. And it's like, wait a minute. Now, when I first started this joke, I was bootstrapping this puppy. It
Hmm.
was we going to McDonald's to have a coffee. How about we not
Right.
even? If I went to a 1-to-1 with you, I wouldn't buy no coffee. I'll drink
Yeah.
water, thank you. Why?
Exactly.
Why all of a sudden now I got to be drinking a caramel latte macchiato? You know,
Now that's my drink now. I'm a caramel macchiato with soy venti hot. Yes.
nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it.
You
But
call my drink out.
my bad. But it's just like if you have a goal and you have a focus,
Hmm.
then you might want to figure out how to make one of them at home. You don't have to do it every
Yeah.
day, maybe
You're right.
once or twice a week. My point is, I don't want you to live like you poor. But I want you to be generational minded. I want your
Yeah.
decisions to be focused on not just today, but how what I do today will impact me tomorrow and the
Right.
Yeah.
next tomorrow. And that's
Right.
all I'm saying. So being scarce, yeah, I mean, I lost my makeup bag. I cannot find this bag. Cannot find it for the life of me. I have one, I have a travel one, then I had some in my bathroom. It's a moisturizer thing. Doesn't All my lipsticks are gone. I got one lipstick that's I lost and it's down to the bone. And I'm like, wow, now to go buy a whole new set of this stuff, well, I could just use a little moisturizer, put my lipstick on. Like, I'm good. Do I really need $200 or more of the stuff? So those are
Right.
things I'm talking about. It's like, well, I can still manage. I'm not dying. I don't
Right.
need,
Yeah.
because I have a
Yeah.
goal. That's
Yeah.
all.
You absolutely. Yeah.
That's
But
all I'm saying.
this has been amazing, and I'm
Great
going to turn
conversation.
it over to my to Keisha. But like you said, yeah, I joke about Starbucks. I love a Starbucks every now and again, but I
Me
still get my
too.
coffee from the Dollar Tree. It's
Yeah.
I love their coffee for some reason. I've tried other coffees, but the one I got from the Dollar Tree is really good to
Now
me,
you
and I
doing you.
buy.
I don't know. You saying something,
No,
because
but
I
I
like
make
my
them at
Starbucks
home.
too.
No, I make them at home, and like you said,
Oh,
I get
okay.
my creamers, but I love the Dollar Tree brand coffee. I make it at home because I work from home, and I get my creamers, and I save more money with
Yeah.
Mhm.
during the week. So yeah, you're right. It's it usually
Shifting our
however you want
mindset.
it. It's about a mindset change, and it doesn't change my bank
Yeah.
account either. And I still think I look good in my Starbucks stuff.
That's
But
right. I
Keisha,
look. I
yeah,
ain't mad. I love them too. I make it at home, and sometimes on Fridays I go out and I treat myself to
right.
my Starbucks, and I
Yeah.
do my
Hmm.
studying, and I love their. So I'm not saying don't live your life. I'm just saying just be
Prioritize it
intentional.
and be
Just be
Yeah.
intentional.
intentional about what your goals are. And if it means that you might need to cut back and have one so that you can move it into something that's going to take care of you a little further down the line, then we need to learn how to practice delayed gratification. That's all.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Well, it
Absolutely.
has definitely been such a pleasure. Joy, I appreciate you, of course,
Thank
bringing me
you for
back
being available.
and meeting Megan and everyone. I'm honored all the time that someone allows me to come on and share my love and passion for money and helping people create wealth. So,
Before
Wonderful.
Keisha take us out, can you just shout us out your information? How can we find you?
oh yeah, I put in here. My website is Woman to Woman Financial. So I'll put it in here. So you can go there. You can email me at info@Woman to Woman Financial. And then what I'm doing, I'm asking a shameless plug, my podcast, Becoming a Financially Confident Woman. So I have 1,700 right now followers,
Mm,
and I would like to get to 2,000 by March
Okay.
31st. So
okay.
it's
Ah.
on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's everywhere podcast. If you just click that follow button, that would be great too. So I'll put it in the chat. And those are the ways
Thank
that
you.
I serve people.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. You're
Thank
amazing.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you. I thoroughly enjoyed this
It's
tonight's
been good.
conversation. There's a lot. I wish I had you guys at least 10 years ago, and I know that not just my life would be different, right? But my family's life would be different.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know that if that is true for me, then that is also true for the audience and our followers and our community that we're building. So as we're closing out and as she's typing into the chat how we can find her, I want to encourage everybody to, again, to stay at a place where we're open to receiving the information that we're sharing, that we're offering. Share it with your friends and loved ones. Please like and follow as well. And to always keep a regal mindset.
Yes.
Jay, you got anything
Knowledge
else?
is knowledge is power.
Amen. I love it. I love it. Dr. April, thank you so much again. We
You're
will
welcome.
definitely send you an invitation to come back on. And again, to our community, we're going to do at least once a quarter, we're going to have a financial expert to come on and to share with us how we change our mindset and relationship with money.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you
Okay?
for having me, and you all have a great weekend. Joy, get back safely.
Yes,
All
thank you
right.
so much. And I'll talk to you soon. Oh,
All
is it
right.
gonna do it? Mine ain't doing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. Oh, okay.
All
okay.
right. Take
Oh,
care,
wow.
guys.
That's cool. Mine didn't do it. No. Bye.
Right.
All right. Bye.